In part 2 of managing the boot process, we'll be looking a little bit deeper at run levels. I'll show you what a run level actually is. I'll show you how to switch between run levels on the fly, and we'll also demonstrate how to change your default run level so that when the system starts up, it always starts up in the run level that you want. In our last video, we left off right here at the grub menu, talking about grub and how we can manipulate grub in case we need to get into different run levels. And we also talked about how after grub is finished doing its part, it hands off to the kernel, and then the init process actually starts up. Well, in this video, we're going to talk about those two things, run levels and init. First thing, we'll talk about run level. Now, I paused it here again. I'm going to press E on the menu because, as we remember before, I'll press E again. I can go into things like single mode. If I want to, I could go into run level 3. I could go into init bash. What are those things and why would we do that? Well, let me escape out of here. Actually, run levels in Linux would be similar to the different safe mode type levels we could go into in a Windows environment. If you've ever had to rescue a Windows environment or do some lower level stuff in a Windows environment, you've probably gone into safe mode. Now, when you bring up the safe mode menu, you have different options. You can do safe mode with command prompt, safe mode with networking, safe mode, with GUI access. Run levels are kind of like that. So if they're not the same, but they're similar in their function. So we saw that single mode allowed me to go in there and make changes of something like my password, right? So I can go in there because there's no networking on. A lot of applications haven't been started. There are other run levels I can go into too. Let me bring up a little chart I have here. All right, here are the various run levels we can go into by default. And the first one is 0. Now, 0 is another way of saying halt. Actually, this would be like issuing the shutdown or power off, right? Command. So we're shutting down the system. So if you type init space 0, you're actually going to shut down the system. Single mode, we talked about single mode and how we can use that to go in there and configure it. That would probably be the closest one to a safe mode perspective. Then there's run level 2, which isn't really used very often because it's multi-user mode, but it has no networking. So this is like safe mode, command prompt only, right? So no networking at all, none. Run level 3, on the other hand, is probably the most used run level of all because it is multi-user and it has networking. So if you're running a server, this is the mode that you'll be in because it provides you all the functionality that you need, but it has one little downside for a typical desktop user, and that is that there is no GUI. Well, and that's actually a good thing, not a bad thing, right? So there's no GUI at that run level. And that's good because typically GUIs are where we have our problems when it comes to systems hanging. So this one right here would be the one that you would see most often used in a network environment, in enterprise environment. Then we have run level 4, which really is unused. And then we have run level 5, which is multi-user with networking, and it has a GUI. So this is the one that we spend our time in. So this is a very popular one for a desktop environment. And then finally we have run level 6, which equates to reboot. So if you type init space 6, you'll actually reboot the system. That's a little introduction into the different run levels. What we'll do next is actually go and configure some of those run levels, and I'll show you how to do it. All right, I've rebooted the system, and I'm going to log in now. And what I'll show you first is how you can switch run levels at the command line. And you may not initially see reasons for this, but actually it's quite useful. If I want to test something, configure something, I can move between the different run levels. I don't have to reboot the system. And that's one of those vaunted things about the Linux operating system in general, is that you can move from something like full GUI mode to safe mode, or single mode in our case, without actually having to reboot the system. Now typically, where you'll see me go is from run level 5 to run level 3. And if we type run level here, we can actually see what run level we're at. So we can see that we're in run level 5 right now. If from here I wanted to switch to run level 3, I would type init space 3. I'm going to su to root. And I'll type init space and the number 3. And what that does is it immediately drops down. Now notice I have to log in. Unlike with single mode, I have to log in here. And all right, I'm at run level 3. Now, this isn't like switching to the different terminals, CHTV1, CHVT2, right? You're all in the same run level when you're doing that. You're just moving into terminals. This is literally stopping services and starting services and moving through different run levels. Now remember, this is, run level 3, there's no GUI. To get the GUI from here, I'd either have to go switch back to run level 5, which would be init 5. That would take me back, but that would literally restart the init process, right? So it's moving me to a different run level. If I want to stay in run level 3, which is typically where you'll stay in a server environment, but I want the GUI temporarily, there is a command I can type, start X. Start X will actually leave me at run level 3, but start the GUI. Pretty slick, right? Because the GUI, all the GUI is just an application, so what the heck, we can start it. Watch, I'll show you, we're at run level 3. There we are, we started out in 5, and now we're in 3. All right, so I will type start X. Now watch what happens. It's going. Oh, it doesn't like that I'm root. A little angry about that. No login, right? Just booted me right into it. And if I open a terminal here and I type run level, you can see that I started out in 5 initially, and I'm still in 3. So I'm still in run level 3. And I can press Shift Control Backspace or Control Alt Backspace. There you go. Control Alt Backspace to kill that instance of the GUI. Once again, never left the run level, never had to restart the system. So Control Alt Backspace killed the GUI, which is just an application for us. So I can go to different run levels as I want to. I can switch back to 5 here. If I want to go back into 5, I'll go back to 5. Now this is, I have to log in, and it's going to ask me to log in as student. I'll do that. Now if I want to permanently change my run level, what I've been doing is hopping back and forth between run levels, right? If I want permanently to change my run level, I have to edit a script. Now you would probably think, well, you're going to edit grub.conf. No, there's actually another file that I will edit called init tab. So I'll su in, and I'll vi etc init tab with 2 T's. Tab it out, and right in here, right down here, at this point right here, we can see exactly what we were talking about on the board, the different run levels. Now notice the GUI here is called X11, right? That's another way of describing the GUI as X, and we'll talk about that when we get to the GUI part of it. If I want to change my run level from here, all I would have to do is go over to this 5 and press 3. Now what will happen is every time I reboot the system will start up in run level 3. So all I would have to do is save the file right here, right now. There would be no GUI when I turned on the system again, and I would be run level 3. So that's a way you can change your run level permanently, and then we can always switch back and forth if we need to. It's not a big deal. I'm not going to do that because we like the GUI right now. So I'll save that. So that's an introduction to Runlevels. What I'm going to show you next is what happens behind the scenes when you switch Runlevels. Because there's lots of things going on, lots of things being killed. It's a violent world when Runlevels is switched. So we'll look at that.